good morning, and very good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome to VUEGRAPHY. I hope you guys doing great. Well, I got a question about architecture photography recently, and I've been asked that how can we shoot or what type of lenses do we need to do architecture photography? Can you share a few tips and tricks? And I was like, well, that could be a good topic to make a small video. So before I'll share any tips or trick, first of all, I'm not a hardcore architecture photographer, but still I know a little bit of few things that I thought it will be better to share with you. So you can it could be benefit for you in any capacity. First of all, people think that for to do architecture photography you need tilt shift lenses or expensive lenses which cost a fortune. Well, it depends how you take. You can do architecture photography using any any lens. It could be a kit lens. You don't need expensive shift lenses, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean to say. Usually, what tilt shift lens do, they basically correct the perspective distortion which happen. Like if you have, let's suppose, 24 millimeter normal lens, any lens, like 24 to 70 kit lens or 18 to 55 kit lens. Uh, so you basically standing in front of the building and you try to take a shot of the building. So you basically ending up building like this. So this is the top of the building and this is the bottom of the building. So instead of you getting the building like this, you're ending a building like that. So because you are angling the lens up in order to get the whole building, the whole building. So it means that you are instead of uh, instead of placing the lens like this, you are angling up, which is causing this perspective distortion. So not the building is not straight, it's like this. So how do we fix it? So people think that, oh, we need shift lenses, tilt shift lenses, especially the shift lenses, because what shift lenses does, you keep the focal plane straight, like this is the camera. So instead of and this is the lens. So instead of angling up, like you are angling up in order to capture the whole building, instead of angling up, you are basically keeping the focal plane of the camera same straight, and you keep the shift lens. Instead of angling up, you are shifting the lens up in order to capture the whole building. So you keep the focal plane straight, and your shift lens is going up and down. So in order to go up, you're able to capture the whole building. This is what shift lens does. So imagine you don't have shift lens. What you gonna do? Well, there is a little small trick which is available in Lightroom. There is a pros and cons of that trick. It can fix the perspective distortion, but it costs you a little bit of side effect. And I'll tell you, but before I tell you the side effect, let's jump into the Lightroom and I'll show you what it is. So let's go and see in the Lightroom what I'm talking about. All right. So this is where I'm going to show you these four images, how to correct the perspective distortion without having a kit lens. I mean, without having a shift lens. I'm sorry. So this is an image which I took using 2470 f4 on the Z5, as you can see over here. That's the Z5, and I use 2470 lens. This is, you can see, 2470 f4. Now, how I'm going to adjust the perspective distortion? First of all, let's go into the develop module and start scrolling down to this transform section. So from this all the way down to the transform section. So this is the transform section is. But before I do anything, let's adjust the exposure. So I do this auto. You press auto and you can see it first. I just lift up the shadows, reduce the highlights, or kind of like this, and white more vibrance, and so image is now representable and I can see what's going on in the image. Now I go down to this transform section, and that's where look at this vertical. On the vertical I have to, if I go positive it distorts image more, but I have to go opposite. So I have to try to reduce to negative, and I keep doing till I see that this wall over here or this minar becomes straight. So I keep doing this and I feel like okay, this is where that's too much. Go back. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, this is where this image looks good. But here is the thing, I am getting this area total white. So it means that the total number of pixels from here is gone. So in order to fix it, I have to crop the image. So I have to crop the image somewhere over here or start doing this. But again, it's locking. Let's unlock so I can free transform something like that. Yep. And have some more sky into the frame, and boom. Okay, now you see the perspective distortion is gone and my image is fixed, but at the cost of total number of pixels. Why? Let me show you. The total number of pixels are now reduced from 6000 by 4000 to 5499 to 3889. Before that, you see it was 6000 to 4000. So yeah, by using this transform feature I basically cut the total number of pixels, but again I fix the perspective distortion. I have all the lines straight into the frame. So that's what it's all about. Let's try another image. Here this is another image. You can see the minar is going sideways. This is the line over here is going towards right. This is going towards right. Same thing, I'm going to fix the exposure by auto. Plus this, reduce the highlights, lifting up the shadows, scrolling down all the way to transform section, again going negative, 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 and looks fine. Yep, that's fine. Same thing happening. I have to crop the image. So I have to unlock to reduce the proportion. And here we go. Boom. Actually, it's too much. I have to revert it back. Okay. I have more room to uncrop it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Alright. Yeah. Okay. So I fixed the perspective distortion in this image as well, but at the cost of number of pixels. Alright. The more I'm getting close to a subject, the more image I have to crop after using this transform feature over here. Let's say this is another example. This is also converged towards towards upside. Again, I have to adjust this auto, then come down. Converging lines, I have to fix this. This time, I am cutting the number of pixels less. Why? Because I'm shooting from the distance. So it's just the angle, the total number of pixels I cut less this time. You see, this time I'm cutting the total number of pixels less because I am shooting from the distance. So now imagine this is another picture. This is right from the camera, no editing done. So I took from 12 megapixel because this shows. Do I need to correct perspective distortion in this lens? No, I don't have to. Why? Because I'm shooting with 200 millimeter. So when you are shooting at 200 millimeter, that's where you can fix it. You don't have to fix it, I mean, because your angle of plane is parallel with the building if you're shooting from far. So you use the telephoto lens and you don't have to fix the perspective distortion. So this is how you basically correct the perspective distortion. So you saw how I corrected the perspective distortion in the Lightroom and using the transform section, especially that y-axis. But there is a side effect of it, which I explained you in the video. It costs you the number of pixels being chopped off or cut off from the image. So your total number of pixels has been reduced. That's the side effect of using that transform feature. But again, if you don't have the shift lens, that's how you do the shift feature, or that's how you basically correct the perspective distortion. The only way you can avoid or minimize that number of pixels or retain the number of pixels is by shooting a little bit, giving yourself a little bit of breathing space into the frame, like you shoot from a distance using the kit lens. So it means that the more you are shooting from far and using that transform feature, it means that you once you use that feature, the image is going to be chopped from the bottom, reduce the frame in a minimum way, and retain the more number of pixels to retain the quality. This leads to another point, which you can avoid this perspective distortion if you are not using a shift lens. And what it is, use a telephoto lens. So what telephoto lens does, like, it means that the more you are going back, it means that your angle of plane of the sensor is going straight instead of going up. So it means that if this is the building and you are shooting this, in order to capture this, you have to angle up using a wide angle lens, right? Now, which creates this perspective distortion, which you saw, and I already showed you how to correct it. But if you are going, far from the frame and use a telephoto lens like 70 to 200, so in order to capture the building, your angle is not up, your angle is getting straighter and straighter. So the more the distance, the more the angle of plane will be straight. And this way, you don't have to use that transform feature. It means that your total number of pixels will remain exactly the same. The quality of the image will remain the same. So that's how you tackle these shift lens in order to capture the architecture photography. Use that transform feature in the Lightroom or shoot from the distance and use a telephoto lens. You 70 to 200 or maybe 200 above up to 500 or 600, depends how far you are shooting that building from. So that's how you basically do the architecture photography on a budget level. Use any 70 to 200, 70 to 300, all right? Shoot from the distance in order to avoid that perspective distortion, or use any kit lens or wide angle lens and use that transform feature in the Lightroom. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in future with some new content. Till then, take care. Bye.